Watching my homies, DJ80 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing a product called the Gemini Mix2go, which I bought from Gear for Music. Ordered it on the Wednesday and it arrived by Friday. So let's have a look and see what we get in the box. So here's what we have in the box. We get this little leaflet here which offers us an extended warranty if we review the product online. We get a quick start guide, which is quite handy. We get power lead, 3-pin plug, awesome, a manual, and I'm assuming that's a connector lead to connect to your tablet. And obviously we get the unit as well. So I've plugged it in. We got an on-off switch on this side. The quick start menu guide thing is really useful, and I'll show you some bits and pieces in a moment. So on the other side, just show you there, we have a little LED panel. So this light is on, that means it's receiving power. Then you have a separate on and off switch, which is full of LEDs at the front, which light up. And this button here is to change the pattern of the LEDs. And one of the settings is sound to light as well, I think. Now looking at the top of it, we've actually got quite a lot of options here. We have a Bluetooth function, so if I wanted to, I can connect it to my Bluetooth on my phone straight off the bat. You hold that button down for 4 seconds, that's to switch it on. And also, before you use a tablet of any sort, you have to make sure that that Bluetooth is off. In all of the instructions it does say make sure Bluetooth is off first. And to turn it off, hold it for 4 seconds. We've also got an auxiliary in there, so if you want to play from an MP3 player. We have a mic input, and we have a USB port there. Now that is to connect to your tablet, which is why they give us that lead. And you also have an option here of an Android device or an Apple device. So I'm going to be using an Apple iPad. And then you just turn the button to whichever tablet you're using. Also on here we see we've got a left and right output, so we can actually directly wire to another mixer or to speakers. And we've also got 2 different size headphone ports as well, so you, depending on what jack you've got for your headphones, you can plug them in. And then just briefly looking at the rest of the unit, we have separate buttons here for queuing for headphones. There's also a record button here as well, so if you want to record your mixes. We have a search and load buttons here, and I haven't set up the app yet. I'm going to download it in a moment onto the iPad, and actually I'll download it onto my phone as well because my phone's Android, so we can test both. And then we have some separate buttons here. One's for the mic volume and one is for your headphone volume, of course. Then you have a couple of little platters. We've got some cue buttons and some loop buttons. You've got a sync button there as well. And each side, each deck, has its own volume. Plus it has 3 basic equalizers. Has your master volume as well. And it has an input volume too, so you can adjust the input if you're using your tablet or your Android device. And we have a crossfader, so that's pretty much it. Let's just switch it on. Oh, we also get the strap. The unit isn't massively heavy. I would say perhaps 3 or 4 bags of sugar, maybe not even that. So let's switch it on. Oh, our little decks light up. We've got lights at the front, not yet. That's because I didn't switch it on here. So I'm going to switch LED to on. Aha! Oh, how about that? So that's a little look at the LEDs. I'll just try the different buttons. Banging. Another little pattern. I'm guessing that might be sound to light one, so that might do a bit more when we've got some music playing. Have we had that one? I'm not sure. I think we've had that one. I'll have to read through the manual. I'm not quite sure how many. Oh, I think that was the beginning one we had. So there's probably 6 or 7 there. I'll have a quick check in the manual. Right, so what I'm going to do now. Oh, also, by the way, I've only just plugged this in and it's actually on a full charge. So they obviously come out of the factory, I'm guessing, fully charged, and this one hasn't been held in the stock room for long. So I'm going to download the app now on my iPad and on my phone, and we'll give it a little spin and see what happens. Right, so the app you want for your Android phone is this one. It's called Mix Vibes Cross DJ Free, and on the app it's just called on the Apple app it's just called Cross DJ. Now I did have a look, just worth noting, I did have a look on the App Store, and this particular app had loads of good reviews. It only had one 1-star review, and that was because you couldn't use Apple Music on it. So it looks good so far, but this is a free one. There was a paid version, a Cross DJ Pro version, which cost £4. So I'll wait and see what we get with this before deciding on whether to buy the advanced version. Okay, here's the iPad set up in the top. It slots in really nicely, and there's also a rubber strip that runs along the top here that keeps it in nice and snug. And I've connected it up, so I followed the instructions, so hopefully, all things being equal, this should recognise the Mix2go. Let's see what happens. Okay, that didn't work well, did it? I've just had a quick 20 minutes online trying to find a remedy for this, why it wouldn't work straight off the bat, and I couldn't. And in fact, most of the answers I came up with said that this prefers to work with Apple products than it does with Android. So I came back to the iPad, I just closed all my apps, and then tried to open Mix Vibes again whilst the iPad was vertical. Not sure if that makes a difference or not, but I don't think so. And it's finally recognised it. So as you can see there, the first notification that you get is it's detected the controller and it's ready to use. So I'm going to press OK. Right, now I've got to find some songs and get some stuff ready to give you a demo. Alright, so I'm not going to give you too much of an explanation into the software itself, because that will be something that you'll need to download. It's free, and you can work out and find out what works for you with regard to the software. I'm just going to give you a quick demo of the actual unit working. So it's quite straightforward. You go into your playlists and you've got a little dial here which you can move up and down, and then as you'll see on the screen there, as you turn it, it goes through the songs, and then when you find one that you want, you press load. We've got a load A and load B, so that's for deck A, deck B. Press A, and as you see there, it will load up. And the controllers do actually work with what you see on the screen too. So if we take the crossfader at the bottom there, if I move this along, as you can see. And also, let me just focus there, the EQ as well. So you see the EQ going up. I'm a bit apprehensive about playing music because I know what YouTube's like with detecting files, but I'll give it a quick play, shall we, and see if we can get away with a couple of seconds. Okay, I'll leave it for that for now. So, yes, the iPad app works. It might take you a couple of times just to get used to it. And let's see if I can find a song. There we go, that'll do. Alright, interestingly, although it's loaded the song on there, I'm not getting a response from my crossfader at the bottom, so I'm moving this left and right, but it's not doing anything on there. Okay, the long and short of it is that I've tried rebooting my phone. I've had a quick look online, and there's all sorts of things that you can do to an Android phone to get it to connect to the Gemini. So as I said earlier, the consensus seems to be that it's more designed to work with an Apple product than an Android, but you can get it to work with Android. I'm not going to waste an hour or two of my day trying to make it work, so I'm going to leave it for now. But if you search online, if you absolutely must use an Android device, then there are ways of doing it. So what I'll quickly try now is the Bluetooth function. Let's try and pair it then. Repaired. Type the pairing code. Hey, I think we're there at last. Put volume here. Okay. It's nothing like a live demo, is there? Yep, that's the Bluetooth function working on the phone. So that works. Let's look at the actual build structure of the unit then. So it has a plastic, like a strong plastic casing. It actually looks quite smart. Obviously got the lights at the front. The controllers feel that's quite smooth. It's got a little bit of weight to it. The crossfader has enough of a feel to it so you know where it is. The buttons are like a rubber, hard rubber, and it's all laid out with a fair amount of space. your main buttons here, of course, your sync. They're you get a click with those so you can hear them in place. And you've also got your 8 function buttons here that they don't click, but you have to give them a little push. But they do light up when they're in use, and they work really well, and they're numbered as well. So you've got for your loops, you've got your single all the way up to your 8-beat loop. And as you can see, they work, all works fine. So when you look at everything that you have on the top here, you've pretty much got everything that you want from a controller, plus a bit more. Your connection for your Android and your Bluetooth function there, plus an auxiliary in as well. So I think as a unit on its own for functionality, it's actually it's worth the money, and you can get cheaper controllers. Obviously aren't as bulky as this, but they won't necessarily have all of the extras that you've got on here. So I think Gemini have got that bit absolutely spot on. Okay, let's crack on to a conclusion then for this little unit. So I'll start with the negatives first. Alright, so firstly, for any of you who are thinking about becoming mobile DJs who want to go out and charge people to do parties, you need to understand that despite the picture on the box and any other promo videos that you've seen, this is not enough to be a play out on its own. Okay, so anybody who's actually done mobile DJing will know this already, but if you're a young person looking to perhaps get into it, or if you're a more mature person looking to get into it and you think that this might be the unit for you, it's not enough to just buy this and then sort of rock up to a party expecting everybody to be impressed. Okay, firstly, it's not loud enough. I think that they've said that it's 200 watts, but that at best is at peak. Also, although it has the nice lights at the front, there's no way that those lights are going to illuminate a dance floor or a room, not on their own. So you will need, if you're going for this unit, you will need a proper pair of PA speakers, and you will also need some lighting, some proper disco lighting as well. This won't do it on its own. It is a bit of a paradox, because whilst it does have lighting, it's not enough to do a gig with, so you kind of half find yourself wondering, well, what is the point of the lighting? But I'll come to that when we look at the positives. Another negative is it's obviously heavier than just a normal basic controller, and that's because it's kind of sitting on a big 6-hour battery, and then it has the lighting and that in the front as well. And I think just lastly for me, a negative is when I bought this, so it's a couple of days before doing this video, it's £259, and you have to wonder whether you can justify that price. Now you can get several cheaper controllers than that, but then they are just controllers, so they don't necessarily have the aux in, the Bluetooth, the outs, 2 mic jacks, and obviously most of those other cheaper ones are not tablet compatible, so you need to use them with some type of PC or MacBook. I think if they'd retailed this at £199, then I think that's kind of spot on, and in fact you feel as if you're getting a kind of bargain, because that's round about what the basic controllers might cost you, somewhere in that area, but then you get all the extras on top, and so you kind of think that you're getting a great deal. So yeah, it's, if you don't mind paying £259, and we'll look at the positives in a moment, then yeah, I think that would be fine. one of the other negative points is that this is optimized to work with the app on Apple products, but it does work with Android products as well. There are reviews and videos showing that it works with Android products, and also on the forum, on the Gemini forum, which is, if you're in the UK, it's geminisound.co.uk, I think. They do give you instructions on what you have to do to your Android product to get the app to work with the Mix2go, and it involves going into some settings. So if you are using your phone, then you'll need to just check that out. But for me, I mean, if I don't use my phone when I'm DJing. It's actually my fourth backup. So I mean, I have a main PC, then I have a backup laptop, then I have my iPad, which I'll wirelessly use, and I've brought speakers specifically that will work with Bluetooth. And then I have my phone, and if I've got to the point where I'm using my phone, then I'm having the gig from hell anyway. So it would simply be sort of play, fade out, fade in, second track. And so, but I do know that there are some DJs out there that have used their phone to DJ with. So you'd need to check out your settings on your phone to get it to work with the Android app. So finally then, let's go through the positives. I have a few on my list, so let's go through them and see if any appeal to you. Right, first off, this product is unique, and it might be filling a gap that other brands have been missing. So it's a one-of-a-kind unit. I'm not really aware of anything else that does everything that this does. It's a solid piece of kit. It feels well made. It doesn't feel cheap. And despite your initial idea that it might be cheap because of the flashing lights at the front, I think they're there for a different reason. It works with Apple and Android products, and as I've mentioned earlier, you'll need to check if you have issues getting it to sync with an Android app. The basic app is free for this, so before you buy the unit you can actually download the app and give it a try anyway, and see if it's for you. So that's quite a genius move on Gemini's part, because you can get the app, have a little play with it. Is it good enough for what you want? If so, and you want to have a physical unit afterwards, you can then buy the unit. I think this would be great for starter DJs. Okay, so it's really obvious on what the buttons do, where you plug stuff in, and just pressing the loop and the cue buttons, you can get a feel for them. And so that would help people who are looking at getting into DJing. I think this would give them a real insight on some of the things that the DJs do and use when they're playing out on their sets. Obviously the built-in battery means you can take it anywhere. 6 hours is a good life for the battery. I haven't tested it for 6 hours, but that's what they claim, and even if not, you've still got your plug-in lead at the side there. Another positive is this unit is going to be great for things like in the summer when you have a barbecue, when you have friends round. It's great for young people, if for instance students. So you've got a student room, you've got 10, maybe 15, 20 people come round, and you want to have a little play out. It's also good for adults. So if you've got your Saturday night, you're having your little house party and all your guests are coming round, it's something for people to have a little play with, have a little try. It's a nice talking point as well. It's just something different. And also another positive is if you're an established DJ, you can also use this as a backup as well. So it's a little bit bigger than just a standard backup controller, but if you're a professional and you're shifting, you're taking a lot of gear to your venues anyway, the size of this won't make much of a difference. For me, a big selling point of this means that I can have a little jam at home and I don't have to get out all my gear to do it. Everything's here. It's loud enough for me to hear quite clearly, so I don't have to get out my speakers and my controller and all the wires and stuff like that. And for me, that's a really big selling point, and that's actually why I bought this unit. Gemini have been around for over 40 years, so they must be doing something right. They're not just a little startup brand. What else? I think just lastly, it's worth mentioning that don't judge this solely on its looks. Okay, don't compare it to other controllers because it's not like other controllers. Gemini have been quite daring to try this unit, and basically what they're doing is saying, let's create something for a market that we're not sure is out there or not. And I think there is a market out there for this. As I said, as well as, if you're a professional DJ, you can use this as a backup unit. But if you're a young person and you're looking to sort of put your toe in the water with regards to DJing, then this is an ideal little first unit to get. It has everything that you need on it, including different ways to play out and to listen to your music. But it also has stuff that you would find in a more advanced controller as you progress through learning how to DJ, such as your loops, your cues, your crossfader. And I think when I was younger, I didn't get into DJing until I was much older, and primarily that was because back in the day DJ equipment was really expensive, and so you wouldn't want to pay lots and lots of money to try something only to find out that you don't like it. And although I've said I think this unit would be ideally priced at £199, £259 at the moment is still, considering that you get everything that you need in one go, I think ideal for young people, and it's a positive step. So if they want to try it, they can. And obviously, if things don't work out, they don't like it, you can sell it on, because there'll always be young people. We're not running out of young people, and so you've got some sell-on value with it as well. So I'm really, although I know it's daring and it is for a market that is currently untested, I think it's a really good step forward by Gemini. I think it's a tidy little unit, and it has options for people who have never DJed before and people who are established DJs as well. And so yeah, I really like this little Gemini unit, and it gets a thumbs up from me. So that's the end of my review. If it's been helpful in any way, as always, please click on one of my music tracks, because every click helps. I'm now off to have a bit more of an in-depth play with this and practice my scratching skills. I've been DJ80, thanks for watching.